Hi everybody, welcome to the Knitting TurnPike. Welcome to the Knitting TurnPike. My name is Gina Pike. I'm so very happy that you're here with me today. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a wrap up for October, November. We're going to be talking about some things going to be happening in December, some upcoming events, and what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the year here on the Knitting TurnPike. Thank you so much for being here. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you. This video might be a little bit longer than my normal videos because I have a few things to show you, a few things to talk about. So why don't you just grab something to drink, sit down, spend some time with me today. I'm looking forward to it. It's been quite a while since I've been able to do a video, since I've been so sick. Feeling a lot better. Thank you for all the well wishes. Still having a little bit of headache stuff, but I'm going to be seeing a doctor in December. See if we can figure out what's going on there. It has slowed down my knitting tremendously because a lot of my headaches are like in my eyes, behind my eyes. So focusing is pretty hard when your head feels like it weighs 50 pounds and you got a lot of pain right there. So let's get on to something else. The last time we talked, I talked about Stephen West. I was knitting his mystery shawl knit along for 2022, Twists and Turns, what I like to call TNT. The MKAL for this year. I talked about 2 clues. There were 4 clues for this shawl. I've knitted his mystery shawl knit along. This is the 3rd year that I participated, and I just needed to show you my last clue. Now, I finished this at the end of October, but I had a hard time with my voice. I did film a video clip a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to be inserting that, just going over the different parts of it when it's a little more fresh on my mind. About what I did. I'm going to show you the shawl. I ended up making it shorter and doing an early bind off. I didn't really care for the extended center section. So this is kind of like a very long scarf, really. I think that's what it looks like. It goes from this end all the way to the center section. You can see where I did the early bind off, and then you can see where they have the other side. And I had 3 colors. I had the main colors, this burgundy color from Miss Babs, and this is Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply and Devotion. My contrast color was the pink. It's Madeline Tosh Merino Light and Copper Pink. And then this color is Suburban Stitcher in maple. It's her sock yarn in maple, and this one's a little bit thinner than the other 2. I think the colors went very well together. I loved the pink and the red and the kind of pinky rust color. And anyway, this is it. Let me insert the clip that wraps up clue 4. All right, here's a clip for the final shawl for Stephen West annual mystery shawl knit along. This is the Twists and Turns shawl for 2022, Stephen West. This shawl, the last time I showed you, was clue 3. There were 4 clues in knitting this shawl. Last time I showed you, this was not here. We were over here. We had that long strip of that river strip, and we had the strip there. And like I predicted, we finished this side out. We basically picked up stitches along this edge. Every time we went back across this, we we connected it to this by doing, on one side we did a knit 2 together. On this side, the other side we did a slip knit. So both sides are the same. Basically, you are doing 4 rows of the same color that you used here. Your colors A and C. Oh no, I'm sorry. Your main color and your contrast color, and then you had your accent color. So colors your main color. My main color is this dark burgundy, which is Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply yarn and Devotion. My contrast color is this pink. It is Madeline Tosh Merino Light and Copper Pink. I love both of them. They both knit very well. The Yummy is a little bit thicker, but I think it works. They worked really well together. You just do 4 rows here, 4 rows, and you can see it's a stockinette, and then the main colors in a garter stitch, which is similar to what you did over here on this braided section. Now I have something to tell you about the braided section here in a bit, but I want to finish this first. I did make one mistake on this side. So this side ended up being just a hair shorter. I didn't notice it till I was almost to the end, but if you can see that row right there, I did only 2 rows instead of 4. And then, and I missed a pink row. So this side's maybe just a hair longer, and when I realized it, I didn't want to go back and undo it, so I just accepted it. And I share that with you because, excuse me, I want to encourage you that if you make mistakes, sometimes you can just live with them. There'll be accent features of your own. Please forgive my voice. I've been sick for since Stephen West Shawl started. I'm still battling it. I've been on 2 rounds of antibiotics. I finished the shawl over a week ago at the end of October, but I haven't been well enough to even get up and film it. I've been in bed a week because my husband was like putting his foot down. Anyway, today's one of the first days I feel like getting up and trying to film, but my voice is still shot. So anyway, I'm going to a doctor next week again, maybe for the 3rd round of antibiotics. Who knows? Anyway, sorry I digress. But here you go. You got this. This side was the same thing where you're knitting these alternations of your main color, your contrast color, and you're attaching it here with a slip knit or a knit 2 together. I can't remember which one was which. This one was the perfect one where I didn't make any mistakes. So anyway, that's what it looks like with no mistakes. And then after you did that, you came back to this main section. Now this is a blocked shawl, and the way that he wrote the pattern, you do this section here in your accent color, and then he continued it on with more stripes in your main color, contrast color, and it's like a little zigzag attention or accent extension. That's the word I'm looking for. And it kind of comes out and lets this center section be a little bit longer than the rest of it. And I didn't really like the look of that, so I decided to do an early bind off after my accent row and just finish it off there. So you can see what you do is you pick up these stitches here in this main color and knit this accent color. It's a twisted rib, which matches the twisted rib over here very well. I think it makes those twisted rib stitches over there pop. And you just do that for that many rows to your main color. And I decided to bind it off right there. I just decided I didn't really want to do those stripe stitches. I didn't like the look of it. So also when I did that main color, I went ahead and I picked up stitches on these loops and just attached them. I've seen so many people do so many different things with these loops. I've seen buttons, I've seen tassels, I've seen pom-poms. There's so many things you can do with this. I've seen people weave an I-cord to go from here and then over to here to make it more, to make that section right there, maybe close it up a little bit, and like the same thing over here, weave an I-cord through all of these to close them down. I decided just to pick up the stitches and knit it to that and call it a day. And I didn't want to do the extra accent stripes. I didn't like the look of that. I thought this is ended up, the way I blocked it, it ended up being more like a crescent-shaped shawl, very long, and it can be worn like a scarf. One of the things I want to mention is I did aggressively block this. I kind of overblock things, and again, I've been sick, and I didn't really pay attention to it, and those loose stitches along the edge, you can see, because I did block it. I'm pointing out the errors of my ways in hopes that you won't do this. I think when I'm wearing it, it won't be that noticeable. but I am pointing it out now because you can see it. And all I'll have to do the next time I wash this is just not block it out so harshly, so that you can see those little loose stitches, which is fine. One of the other things I want to mention is while I was knitting this, I came across a pattern called the hot hibiscus tea cozy, and it is by Sugar and Cream of Lily Sugar and Cream. It's a yarn-based type of yarn. It's cotton yarn, and it's sold by Yarn Inspirations. I'm going to put a picture here of the pattern. You can see it has these similar this braid technique on the cozy. And the reason why I'm sharing it is that I know a lot of people talked about how they really did not like the creation of this, where when you got to these sections, you had to turn it to the wrong side, cast on the stitches, and then after 4 rows of knitting, you had to bind off those stitches. And it was just a lot of twisting and turning, and casting all the stitches. But when I found that pattern, that's a crochet pattern. You could actually, if you wanted to, you could crochet these instead of, having to turn it around and do this as knitted. You could just crochet these little sections. If I hadn't, I should have filmed this before I cast them on. I'll put a picture of how they look unbraided. And you could just crochet those little thin sections and that you're going to be braiding later. I don't think it looks any different, the crochet version versus the knitted version, looking at that pattern. That's another idea. I just wanted to throw it at you. If you have been hesitant, if you are on clue 1, if you are thinking about it, you don't like that part, try crocheting these little sections here and see if that maybe speeds it along and makes it more fun for you. If that's not one part of the pattern you are enjoying, it's not about how you do it and having to do it exactly how Stephen West does it. It's about getting the stitches on the needle and getting, what you need. So you can do it lots of different ways. Like he talks about the cast on of those. You could do a knitted cast on, cable cast on, backwards loop cast on. Now maybe try a crochet method. That might work better for you. I know a lot of people like to do crochet. It's a little bit faster than knitting, so that's just an idea I wanted to throw out. I was really surprised when I saw that pattern, and I thought, oh, I got to share this with everybody because it might be a way for you to get through this a little bit quicker. Or, maybe if you're going to knit your second one, you can do that. I've got to cut that thread there. Sorry about that. Anyway, the last part of this I've already explained, picking up the stitches and then finishing it off. Now, if you continue on, you make this jagged section that tapers, and it's going to look like your main color and contrast color in the garter stitch and stockinette that comes to a point and does a little closed end thing, and it hangs down a little bit longer, kind of like for people who want to wear it like a shawl, so that it has a little bit longer length in the back. But that's it. That's my shawl. That's it. Finished for 2022. I saw so many variations of this shawl. Sorry, it's not laying flat. Because some people didn't like these cables. I didn't care for them at first, but I do love how we put the I-cords in there to accent the color. I will say this is not my favorite design by Stephen West, but it was fun, and I learned a lot of things, especially with this new technique, these twisted rib stitches, picking up stitches. There's so many things to learn from this shawl. Cabling, stitches, but, the design's not for everybody. And when you do a mystery knit along, that is something you take a chance with. It might be something that you don't care for. I did not work on my second shawl. I've been too sick and just decided to frog that one. So I'm sorry if you guys were looking forward to seeing that in those colors. I just did not finish it. I just haven't been feeling well. So I apologize, but I did finish this one. I did want to share it, and there it is in all of its glory. And that's another annual mystery shawl along for Stephen West, wrapped up this year. Thank you so much for watching that and letting me share that with you. The one thing I want to say about this shawl is that now that we know what it looks like, I mean, when we were making it, there were a lot of people making a lot of changes to it. Like I saw people who were changing like this section here because they didn't like the cables. And I think it's very brave to be doing something like that when we don't really even know where the shawl's going. But now that we know what the design looks like, if there are, this is a very modular kind of a shawl. If there are things about this shawl that you don't like, you can totally change it up to make it more something like you do like. I saw people, like I said, not knitting these cables, changing the cables, making a colored section come through this, which extended these sections here. They would extend that and make it go through that cable there. I saw people bringing in their accent color in these stripes here, or in these stripes here, bringing more of the accent color in. I saw people doing that at the bottom too as well, or like me, you know, finishing it off, adding things to this to these loops section. There's so many things you can do with it, and I encourage you, you know, change it up to whatever you want it to be. I saw people making these, because this is such a long thing, I saw people making this a lot shorter on the sides. So, you know, you could totally make it whatever you want it to be. And it was fun. I learned a lot. This is not one of my favorite designs. I think I said that in the video clip, but it was fun to learn some things. And, you know, it's always good to learn new things and challenge yourself. So there's my shawl for Stephen West. Now, the other shawl I want to wrap up, it started at the beginning of October. This was more my speed. I'm more of a lace and beaded lace knitter. This was a mystery shawl knit along from Bev Johnson, who is Boo Knits, out of the UK, and she always hosts her annual Mystery Shawl Knit Along for Halloween, always, and she does hers at a very fast pace. So I was sick. I got sick like right after it started, so I think I did clue 1, and I showed you guys. I even did a stitch tutorial for that shawl to show you how to do all the stitches in this shawl, and I'll link those down below. But then I did not finish clues 2 through 5. There are 5 clues for this Mystery Shawl Knit Along until I was almost finished with Stephen West. So that's why you haven't seen it since the beginning of October. But this is what the shawl ended up looking like. Let me make sure I'm on the right side here. All right, this is it. A super lacy crescent shape shawl. I have a clip for this shawl to talk about clues, talk about the shawl, I think, the whole thing. So let me insert that. Everybody, I'm showing you the Bewitched Shawl. This was the mystery knit along for Boo Knits, Bev Johnson. This was for her annual Halloween mystery shawl knit along. Showing you the full shawl pinned out. It's a gorgeous crescent shaped shawl, lace shawl with beads. I just finished it, and I want to go in and show you a little bit of the details. I did do a stitch tutorial for this shawl if you're interested in evaluating the stitches and knitting this. This shawl is beaded, and she recommended using 2 types of beads. I used this small 6/0 seed bead, like a raspberry color, and then I used this, this is also a seed bead, but you can see it's a little bit larger in size. It's a 6/0 as well, which is just the center hole size. It's a black shiny bead. And you can see what they look like side by side. I thought they went well with the yarn color. This yarn is from Miss Babs. It's a Dulcina, which is a silk alpaca mixture that is no longer being made, but I had it in my stash from a while back. And I'm trying to use up yarns in my stash. So we started at the top with the garter stitch tab cast on. You can tell it started right in here because I still have the thread there. And she got right into the lace and the beads right from the very beginning. It has a gorgeous, I showed you clue 1. Again, I showed you a stitch tutorial. I'll link that up above. But you can see the design starts, and it just goes in a column of lace with beads and a column of just regular stitching with beads. But this shawl is full of beads from the very get-go. You can see it just carried on along throughout the shawl. and it grows on each side. A crescent shaped shawl grows on each side by doing, for this one she's doing the make one increases, which I showed in the stitch tutorial. To get to the size, it's crescent shawls are log and not very deep this way, which lends themselves to be worn kind of like a scarf. This shawl again has this beautiful pattern through, I showed clue 1, and it continued on through clue 2 and clue 3. And as we got more into clue 3, there was 5 clues for this. As you got into the later clues, you could see how the lace grows, and then the beads. We introduced this stitch. This stitch right here is one of the special stitches. It's a one stitch becomes 7. It's the knit, yarn over knit, yarn over knit, yarn over knit. And you can see how it just, that one stitch fans out to become mini stitches, which lends itself to this wonderful, this really beautiful design. I wanted to point that out because I've shown that stitch before and people were like, what does it look like when it's knitted up? So you can see how it's used in this pattern. She starts utilizing the other special stitches like the knit, yarn over knit in the stitch below, the beaded stitch below. Brings in this beautiful lace border, this lace edging. Look how that decorative that is. And you can see she also uses the 2 beads in this design, which really just is really beautiful. And then she finishes it off with a picot bind off, or you could just do a super stretchy bind off if you don't want to do these picots. But on the row before the bind off, there's a back knit into the back and front of each stitch. You place a marker in between them. Those markers are later used in the bind off to help you realize where to place the picots. And it's very spaced out. I didn't pin each picot out. I just kind of brought them down into a point ever so in this part here and in the center part here to make this design, which goes all the way around. And I think it turned out really pretty. And thank you guys so much for letting me share this with you. I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, it's Bev Johnson Boo Knits. She does a lot of lacy crescent shaped shawls with beads, and she always does her annual mystery knit along shawl. And she's going to be doing some more mystery knit along. She usually does one in February. So check her channel out. I'll link it below. I'll link the stitch. Thank you so much for letting me share that with you. So those are my 2 projects for October. Again, I didn't get a lot of knitting done. It was very hard for me to knit in October. I was having a hard time just even getting out of bed. And my husband made me stay in bed for a couple of weeks, really. Ended up being about a couple of weeks. There was, when I went back to the doctor after my 2 rounds of antibiotics, I fell and I I bruised myself up really bad. I bruised a couple of ribs, and so I've been very sore. I'm still sore from falling, and I'm having a little bit of pain with that. Just even sitting here. So I'm trying to heal from that still, but getting back to normal. So let's go into what I want to do for December for the Knitting TurnPike. I don't know if you guys have seen the video yet, but I started my giveaways for December. I'm going to be doing a series of, I'm calling them Advent giveaways. Advent is a celebration of the coming of Jesus Christ for his birth, which is why we celebrate Christmas, if you're a Christian. And I am, and so that's important to me, and I thought it would be fun I'm going to be sharing, I have some Advent sets that I purchased. I thought I bought 3. Now I have an Advent set from Miss Babs. I bought that in September. I have an Advent set from Aberdeen Wool, which is out of Canada, which I don't have it yet. I'm still waiting to get it. That's the one I'll probably have to share. Maybe go ahead and get started on December 1st and share it, like catch up, share it, because I don't think it's supposed to arrive until after like December 3rd. So I probably will not have it when those videos start. But we'll get caught up. No worries. And I'm excited about that one because they have a really nice offering. Again, I'm going to share all these. I'm just kind of mentioning these to you so you guys can plan. I know that you're going to be having lots of options. A lot of people like to do these Vlogmas videos. So, you know, you need to choose the ones you want to watch. If you choose to spend time with me, I would love that. That would just make my day. The other two sets I had forgotten. I had bought a set from Ruby and Roses. I bought that one like in March of this year. So I had forgotten about that one. And so I have Ruby and Roses. She's a beautiful yarn dyer. I just shared some of her sock yarn recently. I'll link her channel down below. She's a great YouTube channel talking about dyeing yarn, and she's a really beautiful yarn dyer. So I'm excited about opening that up. I can't wait to see the colors for that. And then the other set I forgot about this one too, was Suburban Stitches. And that is, she's the one who dyed this maple yarn on this shawl here. I had bought that one and I kind of forgotten about that. So I'll be sharing the yarn outfit sets for those 4 yarn dyers in December. I have some other things planned for my Advent videos. I'm going to be sharing mostly a lot of things in my day-to-day life. I don't get out a lot, but we're going to be trying to get out some. Have some Christmas stuff to share. If I have recipes, I'll share them with you. And definitely knitting. Now, one of the things I want to talk about for the knitting and the crochet, there are so many Advent and Christmas and patterns for the month of December. If you are not on Ravelry, you should really go join. It's free to join. There's so many free patterns. When you hit the home page and you see that pattern section and it says hot right now, if you look at the first few of those, a lot of those are free. And in December, so many designers are giving away free patterns as a way to say thank you for buying their patterns and stuff. So you really should check it out. I have so many patterns I've gotten or I've downloaded because they were free and I've kept them in my library. So I think I have, let's see, why don't I just look? Because I think I have it opened. In my library, I have 31,775 patterns. I know that I've gotten a lot of them for free. I have not bought 31,775 patterns. I've been a member on Ravelry for since kind of the beginning, excuse me. It was kind of, I've been since 2010. So I've been on Ravelry for 12 years. So it's, that's how I've gotten 31,000 patterns. Anyway, the thing I want to share with you guys, if you want to go into Ravelry, I'll try to maybe take a clip of this and insert it, but you just go into the patterns and type in Advent 2022. You will get a list of Advent patterns that are coming out for this year. There are so many projects that are coming out that I want to share a few of my personal favorites. And then I want to share an upcoming project that's going to be happening after Christmas that I want to maybe interest you guys in. And then I want to talk a little bit about yarn, just some yarn and Advent yarns and things like that. So let's go ahead and get into that. One of the things I want to share with you, now these are all most of these are patterns that you have to buy. There are some free patterns. I believe there is a designer, Trisha Weatherston. She has a free Advent. Now after December 26th, her pattern you have to pay for it. But up until December 26th, if you join her project, you can get all the daily updates and get the pattern for free. So that's a good thing. One of the patterns that I've knitted every year for Advent is the Advent Calendar Stole pattern from Bridget Koch. I've shared that in the last 2 years on my channel. I've only been on YouTube 2 years, and this is my fourth year to knit this pattern. I've done 3 of them, and I have shared it 2 years, and this year she's going to be doing the best of her patterns in a stole. Now, what is a stole? It's a rectangular knit pattern. This is what the last year's look like, and this is Patty Golden's one. She knitted this along with me last year, but it's a knitted section, and you can see how there's beaded sections, and then there's, I think I'm on the back side, and then there's the pattern, and then so every other day you get a clue that has little sections for the pattern, and then in between the patterns, she likes to do these little beaded sections. So a stole is a long rectangular piece, and I need to block this. I told Patty I'd block it and find a new home for it, but this is kind of what it looks like, and you can wear it as a scarf, or you maybe could double it in size and wear it as a nice wrap. I'm just going to do it singularly this year. I don't have enough yarn to do double, but I will be knitting it. Like I said, I enjoy this one so much. It's lace and beautiful patterns and beads, and that's just right up my alley. So it's sponsored by the Never Enough Lace group, which Bridget is one of the founders. So that's how I found it in Ravelry, and have enjoyed doing it the last few years. So that's one of them. Another Advent pattern that I'm really excited about are the patterns from Amba O'Brien. Voice is still not used to talking a lot, so excuse me, forgive me. Now, Amba O'Brien, for the last few years, has done a series of Advent patterns. She has the Adventuresome Wrap, with Advent in the title. She has the Adventurer Scarf and Wrap. She has a lot of patterns. She has this year she's adding All Sorts Cape, Fizzalicious Wrap, and I believe she has that Fizzalicious is in a DK weight and a fingering weight options. She's got the Solstice Wrap, a Lamina Cal wrap. I mean, she's got the Adventurer Cal. She's got a pillow. She's got a blanket. She's got a scarf and cowl. She's got a throw. She's even got a party cardi, which I love that, and a vest. So these are great ways to use those mini skeins of yarn that you get with your Advent sets, or mini skeins of yarn that you have left over from projects. I was just pulling some of these out. I have so many of these little, well, those are the two are the same, but I have so many of these little skeins, and this is quite actually a large amount. Most of these mini skeins look like this. They're usually like 20 grams skeins. You know, they're not very big, but you know, kind of like something like this. This is kind of a big amount left. So I have like a whole box of these leftovers from projects. And one of the things I was going to share with you is that if you did not buy an Advent set this year, you can still participate in Advent knitting. You can grab your leftover skeins of yarn and use them to make a project. Now, most of these are 10 grams or 20 gram skeins, these little mini skeins that you get in these Advent sets. If you want to be like exactly precise like that, and you know, if the pattern has a flow to it, kind of like some of the Knitbent patterns from Helen Stewart that I'm going to mention here in a minute, you could take your kitchen scale, weigh out 10, 20 grams amounts of each one of these, instead of having a bigger amount or a smaller amount. I kind of would just wing it and just kind of not really go to that much trouble, but you could do that, or you could even exchange with a friend. Like I could, call one of my friends and say, hey, I know I have at least, I believe in an Advent set you get 24 mini skeins and then one full skein. I know I have enough of that. I could make an Advent set and exchange it with somebody. They could make one for you and give it to you, and you could make one for them and give it to them. And that way you're working with yarns that you've never worked with before. Or if you love the yarns you have, just use the yarns you have. You do not have to buy an Advent set. Sometimes they are pretty pricey. They're pretty pricey. And I think that's kind of why I spaced mine out throughout the year. I ended up, like I said, I bought some way early in the year, and then I bought some later in the year. So that made it a little bit less like I bought 4 Advent sets all at once. No, there was no way I could do that. So anyway, I talked about the making your advent sets. I talked a little bit about, okay, Amber O'Brien. There's another designer that I really like. We did her Miss May shawl. It's Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade Designs. She has a set for this year. It's called Knit Vent. She's done Knit Vent since, I believe, 2015, 2016. I bought these. It's a series of 6 patterns. This year she has collage socks, a forage shawl, a knit vent anthology throw. She has a medley hat, medley mitts, and an oddments cowl. All of these patterns are designed to use mini skeins or scraps of yarn to make. And I love that. I love that these designers are designing patterns for these small skeins of yarn so that you can find, sometimes it's hard to figure, if they're not designed that way, it's kind of hard to see what a design will look like in these color blocks of yarn. You know what I mean? So now that they're designing it, you can see how it's going to look, and then put your colors in the order that you want them to flow. So she has that this year. I talked about Amber. I talked about Helen. There's a lot of other people that have, one I do not want to miss. Hold on one second. I want to talk about One Crochet, one that I talked about a lot last year. They're doing it again. This is called the Amigurumi Advent 2022. Remember last year we talked about this, all of my live shows that I did. There's 2 designers working together for these Amigurumi Advent 2022. This is a crochet series of patterns. This is by Ilaria Kalari and Irene Strange. And they, last year they had the Nature series. This year, I'm not sure what they're all based on, but it's Cute Animals, Odd Objects, Yummy Treat. It will be a very merry party, but the base of it starts out with a cactus, so it's kind of interesting. And she's using all DK weight cotton yarn, which I don't have in my stash, so I have the pattern in my library, but so I'll have to come back and make this at another time. So I thought that was a really great pattern as well. It is $25. It's on sale until December 1st, but on December 1st I believe it goes up to $25, but you get 26 patterns, I believe, or 25 you get 25 patterns, so it's like $1 a pattern. And they're so cute and well written, and lots of detail in their it's like a book that you get, but when you get all of everything that you get for this $25. So those are just a few. Again, if you're interested in doing some Advent knitting, go into Ravelry, put in Advent 2022 in the patterns. Look at all the ones that come up. There are some free ones. There are shawls. There are socks. There are cardigans. There are cowls, there are blankets, there are crochet, there is knitting. There is so much. I could just probably sit here for a whole hour and talk about all of these different Advent patterns. I just mentioned a few of the ones that I like, and a few of the ones I'm probably going to end up knitting. I'm looking at probably doing the Knit Vent anthology throw from Helen Stewart. With one of my Advent sets, and probably adding to it with some of my leftover yarns to make it bigger. That's a big circular shaped pie blanket. The other one I really, really like is the festive wrap from Amber O'Brien, and the solstice wrap. I really like those two for maybe, and I haven't decided yet which one is which. And I still haven't knitted anything with the Advent set I got last year from Swoon Fibers. Swoon Fibers did not do an Advent set this year. I did check with her, and she said that it was a lot of work, so she didn't do one. And I was trying to get also look at my friend Wendy with Amanda Hope yarn, and she ended up doing hers late, and I missed it. So I was sick and I wasn't paying attention, so I missed getting hers, but she's doing hers based on a big tapestry set. So I didn't get those this year when I wanted to, but that's okay. I think I got some really good sets that I want to share with you. And again, I'm going to be doing a giveaway every weekend for Advent. For this video, since I am talking a lot about the knitting and the patterns, a lot of the patterns I mentioned are paid patterns, I would like to offer to you guys a free pattern. And this is a kind of a small giveaway. I'll pick 4 people from the comments below. If you are interested in participating, put the word Advent in your comment, ADVENT, and I will filter the comments and I will pick 4 people. If your name is picked for a winner, you must be a member of Ravelry, because I need to gift the pattern to you in Ravelry. That's how you get the updates and get the pattern. But I will use a YouTube random comment picker and sort those comments out just for those people who are interested. Pick 4 people to win a pattern of your choice. Now, you don't have to pick an Advent pattern. I have been talking about Advent. You can pick whatever pattern you want to pick. I won't make you pick an Advent pattern. Since I have been talking about Advent, it would be nice, but you don't have to. Just put the word Advent down below, and you will win a pattern of your choice up to price of US $25, which that'll cover the Amigurumi Advent 2022, and it would cover the Knitvent series that's cost $22.74 for those 6 patterns, and it would cover all of the Amber O'Brien patterns, one of them, and of course the Advent Calendar Stole pattern from Bridget Koch. Okay, so there we are with that. The last thing I want to mention is something that's going to be happening after December 26th. It's kind of already started, but this will be the 3rd year that Stephen West does Hibernate Along. And I've done Hibernate Along since he started. The first year we did the Winter Lights shawl and the chevron, the wrapped chevrons shawl. I did both of those and shared all of that with you. That was in my first year on YouTube. And then last year we did the cabled trellis shawl, and I gave that to one of my good friends, Carrie, and that was fun to knit. And this year we're doing Hibernate Along 3. He has a shawl, 2 hats, a scarf, and a jacket and a cowl in his book that he's selling off of his website, Stephen and Penelope, out of Amsterdam. Now, the Aurora Cabin shawl is the shawl that he's going to be doing a make-along for starting December the 26th in his West Knits group on Ravelry. I'll try to link that down below. He usually creates a special group for his make-alongs. But the Aurora Cabin shawl is a 5-color shawl, and I picked out colors that are autumn. I've already started mine, but I'm going to have to probably set it aside until December 26th to do some of this Advent and Christmas knitting. So I'll show you what I started, but I don't think I'm going to get much further than this until after Christmas. But I've gotten through section 4, and let me show you the colors. You kind of need, you need 5 colors. My first color is a Madeline Tosh Merino Light tweed yarn that I bought on sale. I told you guys about. This is Filtered Daydreams. That's my color A. It's a beige color, beigey pink. My second color, my color B, is a sock yarn that I have from, hold on, Hawaii Bazaar yarn. It's a sock yarn. It's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards. This color is called Firestarter. It's a bright orange yarn. It's a variegated yarn, so that makes it a little bit more complicated to knit with. So that's my color B. I'll hold them all up together when I get, after I introduce them all. My color C is a Madeline Tosh Merino Light tweed yarn. This is Glazed Pecan. It's kind of a gold color. And then my color D is a Miss Babs Yummy 2-ply yarn. This color is dark Andromeda. It's a red. And my fifth color is a brown color. This is from Madeline Tosh, Tosh Merino Light. And this is from Madeline Tosh, Tosh Merino Light. And this is Sinfully Decadent. And this is also that tweed yarn. This is some of that set I got. So those are my colors. Let me show you what they look like all together. There's this. And then I'll show you the shawl that I've knitted so far. This is them all together. You can see it's all kind of autumn colors. And I think they go really well together. The red is pretty bright and dark. But I'm really liking it so far. Again, I've knitted through section 4. This shawl is so much fun to knit. It's all slip stitch knitting. I'll show you the back of the shawl here in a second. But again, I've gotten through section 4. You can see section 1, you do like a I-cord cast on, very simple, not very long. And then you can kind of see it's color A, color B. My color B is variegated, so it looks like it's got multiple colors going through there. And then you just start bringing in these other colors and do some slip stitch knitting. You can see how those elongated slip stitches. And you can kind of, let me pull it so you can see there's brown in there, and there's gold, and there's orange. And there's a lot of slip stitch knitting, red and brown. It's really stretchy. And then we got to here, section 4 is some simple striping with colors C and D. And then there's going to be a section where colors A and D, or A and E, which is this light color, and my dark brown is going to come in. I think it'll balance some of this bright red out. And then it ends with colors B and D, which is my red and orange. But I'm probably going to change that up. I think there might be too close in color. This is red and orange together. And I think that I'm going to probably maybe do something like orange and the tan, or the orange and gold. I haven't decided. It depends on how much yarn I have left. But this is what it looks like through section 4 so far. Circular shaped shawl. Tons of fun to knit. And this is what the back is looking like with all the slip stitch knitting. And there's not been a lot of like, I think maybe 3 stitches where you've had to do the float in the back. But you can see how neat it looks. I do need to trim some of these ends where I've done the Stephen Stephen to weave in the ends on there. And then on this one section, you do have to carry 3. You have 5 yarns still attached when you're doing this section here, and you have to carry them up the side. But because you're doing an I-cord edge, it kind of keeps it neater in the back. And he explains all that in a video. I'll link that down below, but he explains all of that, how to do that. And if you follow his instruction, it works out totally fine. You can see how neat the back is where you're taking the yarn up the side here. And it's for that section there, this section here. Anyway, that's what it looks like. It's just the Aurora Cabin Shawl from Stephen West. Just started, and gonna have to set that aside for a while. But that was fun. It's a lot of fun. I kind of wish this one had been the MKAL. I think it would have been fun. I do think, though, as I was looking at the pattern, the rows are going to get very long. Like, the rows are going to be over 500 and 700 stitches long each row. So that's probably why he did not pick that for the MKAL, because it's going to be a lot of knitting. But the knitting is very, very easy, and the slip stitch is very, very easy and fun to make those elongated stitches. So, and it helps also, it's very easy to see where you are. You know, you can kind of tell when you might be off a stitch or something, because it won't line up. So anyway, it's a lot of fun, and thank you guys so much for letting me share all this with you. I know this has been a longer video. I'm excited about trying to get some stuff done for December and spending some time with you, getting things caught up. I have Happy Mails mail I haven't opened. I'm sorry. I've been so just, husband's been bringing in, setting it aside. I need to get through that. And thank you guys for sending me mail and Happy Mail. I appreciate that. I'll be trying to get through that as well and show that. And if you have sent me something, thank you. I appreciate it. I will share it here soon. And what else? I just hope you guys are all doing well. I know some people have been messaging me that you all have been sick as well. I hope and pray that you all are feeling better. I will say that this thing I had that's the sickest I've been in a long time, probably in about 30 something years. I remember when I was in my late 20s, I got really sick. I also got really sick in high school. Had to miss school for over a month when I was in high school, in the junior in high school. But this is the sickest I've been since my husband and I have been married. So still trying to fight it a little bit, but I am so much better. And just trying to not overdo it too much and listen to my body. And I'm hoping that the specialist will help me figure something out to at least get this gone, and so I can get more knitting done. But I think we'll have a lot of fun in December. Looking forward to spending some time with you. I hope you'll like some of the giveaway stuff I have coming up. And I hope that you'll want to spend some time with me. I know that there are going to be a lot of options. So I totally understand if you don't have the time. And plus, it's also Christmas and spending time with family and friends, which is very important. So what time you can spend with me will be very much appreciated. And I look forward to it. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.